Hi everyone, Angus Campbell here, Thursday the 14th of May. Got the date right this time I think. And back on the Fury SS. And that's because we've still got a few jobs to do while we're waiting for the cylinder head to be completed with respect to valve seats primarily, that's what that's for, and valve guides. And I spoke to Ward's Engineering this morning, and hopefully that job will be ready to pick up in 2 to 3 weeks' time. So we'll crack on and do some other bits and pieces. So the first thing that we'll attend to tonight is to do a bit of further tidying up of the wiring around the junction block underneath the tank, which I'll show you in a sec. And also then we'll have a think about connecting up the oil feed and return pipes from the motor to the tank, as I've now got a filter for the tank and the union as well. So let's crack on with those jobs now. But first, let me just take off the tank and the seat, and I'll show you what I mean with respect to tidying up the wiring. Right, so when we last left off completing the wiring harness and the junction block here, then what I wasn't too happy about is the fact that there's not enough connectors on this side of the two junction blocks to connect all the wires up, and therefore we had to go across the block rather than use any double connectors on this side as there are in here. But there's a solution actually, and that is to use the piggyback spades. So I recently came across a job lot of those on the net. So therefore what we can do is change the standard spade on the white wire and that blue wire, and that means we can put them the other side and use the piggybacks on this side, and that way then it makes this much tidier. Sorry, that blue wire there and that white wire there. So we'll get set up now with the old soldering iron again and get back on the case. Right, so as most of you know, I don't crimp, I solder. So I've just taken off the insulation from these two, and what we'll do then is we'll replace. I can undo these now because they're all colour coded, these wires, and they're correct. If I can get it off. Oh, damn it, there we go. So we'll replace those single spades, they're only soldered on, with the piggyback spades. And then we can move that wiring across to the other side. That's that one as well. There we go. And that'll just make it an awful lot neater. Whoops. So we'll put the piggyback spade on there. That can then be pressed onto that spade there, and the spade that's there at the moment will go onto the piggyback. So that's how we'll do it. Right, I'll go ahead then and get all this lot soldered up, and I'll bring you back once I've done. But that's basically just remove these two and put the piggybacks on instead. Okay, job done, there we are. So, two wires piggyback together. They don't obviously really need to be on this block now. I could have just almost spliced them together, to be honest, but it does mean that we can separate them if we need to, which is the whole idea of this. So that's fine. And then up here we definitely do need to attach these two to the block because it's in common with, you can't quite see, but other connectors, and white wire is the live wire. So we need to connect it up in series with other components on that side, and obviously we've got the main feed from the loom and the battery on this side from the ignition switch. So there we are. That does look a lot neater with nothing crossing over the junction block. Right, that's that job done. Next we'll get on to the oil pipes, oil feed and return connections up to the tank. Right, oil feed and return connections. So here's the feed smaller bore and return from the oil pump, which is behind here. And we need to go behind this lot and up to the bottom of the oil tank here. So that is actually the return, because that pipe goes internally to the top of the tank and the condenser. And then underneath just there, not that loop, but just behind it, which you can't see at the moment, but it's about there, is the tapped hole for the bottom gauze filter of the oil tank. There's a new one there, and on the end of that goes the pipe union, which you connect the rubber pipe to. So we've got those parts. So I'm probably going to take that tank off and fit that, because it's awkward to get to, and that's only loosely in place. Now the slight problem we've got is that the bore on that return is huge, and I don't think I've got the right flexible pipe for it. I've got the feed, all right, I've got plenty of that. The only one I've got is I think this is a B50 breather, crankcase breather pipe that goes up off the back and round up the back of the rear mudguard. It's silver though, which might go well with the engine actually, but I might just use that to get all the connections together and get the right length as a pattern while I order up some other bore tube, unless I can actually stretch some of this out with a bit of heat, but that's gonna be pushing it a bit, I think. But anyway, we'll definitely get the feed done first, because that involves getting all the filter and the union sorted out. I've got clips ready to stash, and got a host of clips, but I think I've got 2 pair that I think will be the right size for the feed and the return respectively. So let's get the oil tank off anyway, and we'll start sorting that out first. Right, I've just realised actually it's going to be a bit more difficult to get the tank off, because the electrical plate is attached to it, supported by it on the reverse side. However, it's only loosely fitted at the top on its top mountings, and believe it or not, on the bottom mounting, the reason why, where is it, this loop is here is because you connect a large O-ring to that by looping it round and back inside itself, and then that actually hooks on, you can't see it from here, but it hooks on like a bobbin that's on the bottom of the battery tray, and so it just keeps the tank pulled in so it doesn't flap about like this. But it means with it off and with its loosely connected at the top, because on rubber mountings anyway, that's the whole reason behind it, it means I can pull it out, and I can get the filter screwed in through there. That's the drain hole there, that's not the filter hole. So we've got to find a plug for that, but that's standard. But it's behind here, so I can, with the kickstart out of the way now, I can pull this out and gently screw this in. It might take a bit of doing because there's a bit of paint to clean off the threads, but it shouldn't be too bad. It's not stove enamelling. So we'll lube it up. It's 1 inch, 1 inch hexagon on it, so we'll get it screwed up gently and take it from there. Oh, I had to take it off. In the end I couldn't do it with it on the bike, so that's something to remember for the future. I don't remember having that trouble with the Bandit. Anyway, managed to get it off without too much fuss. And right, now we can recap. There's the drain hole, but there's the hole for the filter and the feed. And it'll enable us to clean that up a little bit now and get that on square. Found a good fibre washer for the filter. And this is the loop that an O-ring is connected to by looping it back on itself, and then you hook it onto the underside of the battery carrier, which is on that bobbin there, believe it or not. And then it's just held against this rubber stop again on the battery carrier. So that means then that the whole of the oil tank is rubber mounted, because it's two top mountings as well have rubber bushes. Right, so now we can get that filter in properly. Okay, there we are, got it done actually. Took me a bit of patience, but to clean the thread out with a pick, but got them both done, drain plug and feed filter. So now we can put the tank back on. But in the meantime, we'll check out some oil lines, certainly for the feed anyway, to get that sorted out. Right, tank back on. And what I've done as well is prepared one end of the feed line with the union for the tank. Now, with respect to the routing of this, that's better. With respect to the routing of this pipe, so there's the tank union there. But the oil line doesn't go straight down, because otherwise it might foul in the swinging arm just here. So what they've done is, on the swinging arm, they've actually welded a loop, which is this, with my fingers going through there now, the inside of which you line with a rubber grommet, and the oil line goes through there and then underneath the motor to the oil pump lines here. So basically with this end we need to push it through that grommet, and then with my third hand I can bring it across here, and we'll screw it onto the tank just there. And then once it's screwed on, obviously, then with the other end we can cut it to the right length. So let me get that screwed on and I'll bring you back. Oh, job done. It was very difficult though to get that union on, and you can only put that on after the oil tank is fitted, which makes it very awkward. But anyway, we got it done. And for now anyway, on the return side, I've used that quite big bore silver pipe, but it is a nice fit, and actually it doesn't look too bad at all. But we might replace that. Not too happy with that clamp there. I don't know whether it's quite tight enough, but there is a strange bend in the return pipe for some reason there, probably to go over the frame spar. Actually, it doesn't really need it, but anyway, it's done. So we got there in the end, but that's quite a difficult job, so need to do a bit of a clean up now. Oil smears and finger marks everywhere, but that's another job done. So we're getting to the point now where we can't do much else until we get that cylinder head. And once we get the cylinder head, then most of it will be complete except for the tappet buckets. But it does mean that once the head's on, we can get the carb and intake on, and then we can start test fitting the exhaust pipes and making up the silencers as well. So there's all sorts of fun associated with this lot down here, which we'll explain at a later date. But anyway, more progress, so pleased with that, and we'll leave it there for now. So thanks very much for watching, everyone. Thanks for interest, comments and subscriptions, and we'll see you all again soon, and that'll probably be back on the repairs of the slight petrol weep on the lightning oil tank. So I'm just waiting for the sealer to arrive in the next day or so, and then we'll do a quick repair on that. But it's not too bad, hasn't got any worse, and I think we can resurrect that fine. But we've got another tank as well that we'll have a look at too. But anyway, in the meantime, that's all for now. Thanks very much, everybody. Cheers, bye bye.